when I use the word meditation, what I'm referring to is something very specific. I'm not talking about a technique. I'm not talking about some kind of practice where the aim is to get yourself into some altered state or attain some spiritual state. I'm not talking about trying to have some spiritual experience. Many people meditate for that reason. I know for many years I meditated because I was, bless my heart, I was trying to get somewhere. In my innocence, I was trying to get somewhere. I was trying to transform myself. I was trying to change myself. I was trying to perfect myself. I was even, at one point in my life, I was trying to become enlightened, which is really such a, I was going to say, crazy thing to want for. But, from one perspective, it's not crazy. When you're suffering, when you're in pain, as I was many years ago, of course you want to get out of the present moment, right? When you're in pain, when you have deep grief, when you have profound anxiety, depression, when you're in physical pain, emotional pain, it's the most natural thing in the world to want to escape. Of course, you know, it's the most natural thing to want to get out of the present moment, to get out of your body, to transcend, to be somewhere else, to be in some other state. Isn't that the cry of the seeker? I don't want this moment. I don't want to be in this experience. I don't want this. Especially when you're in pain. I don't want this pain. I don't want this grief. I don't want this boredom. I don't want this dissatisfaction. So it's the most natural thing in the world to seek, to try in a million different ways to escape basically your experience, to get into some other state, some altered state. You get into your addictions. This is the beginning of addiction, you want some high. Of course you do. Of course, the high, the altered state, the other experience is vastly preferable to being here. Being here. But what happens, of course, and this is what happened to me, it become it becomes exhausting, right? In the end, it just becomes exhausting running away from the present moment, running away from your present experience, even in the name of healing, even in the name of enlightenment. And many of us, and I'm sure many of you watching now have reached this point of exhaustion. It's just this fight with life, this fight with the present moment, this fight with now, the fight with your feelings, the fight with your body, this attempt to escape just becomes exhausting. Why? Because in the end, it's futile. How can you escape the present moment? How can you escape life? And so this is what happened to me, many years ago, and I'm sure many of you can relate. I reached this place of just exhaustion with the addictions, with the running away, with the trying to become something other than what I was. The trying to become enlightened, even trying to be free, trying to transcend, trying all these ideas that I'd picked up, these second-hand ideas, even trying to silence the mind, or trying to be free from the ego, or trying to transcend the body, or trying to be in pure consciousness, or trying to be pure awareness, or all these concepts of futures, ideas of how I should be. And at some point, it all, as I said, it all just became exhausting. And then a question became alive in me. What's wrong actually with the present moment? This had never occurred to me in all those years. It had never occurred to me. What am I trying to escape? What am I running away from? Why am I trying to run away from my boredom? And then, or for example, and then it dawned on me, it's like, oh shit, maybe everything I am doing to try and escape my boredom is actually fueling my boredom. Maybe everything I'm doing, everything on a material level and on a spiritual level, everything I'm doing to try and escape my fear is actually not just maintaining that fear, but empowering that fear, increasing that fear. In the end, maybe it's even creating the fear. Maybe everything I am doing to try and escape my pain is actually, on some level, creating the very pain that I'm trying to escape. Maybe like everyone, right? Maybe I had got myself stuck in this addictive loop. This loop. Fighting myself, me fighting myself. And that separation, that fight, just led to exhaustion. And then this question became alive. What's wrong? What's wrong with boredom? Like, I'd never considered that in all those years of spiritual seeking. What's wrong with boredom? What's wrong with fear? What's wrong with anger? What's wrong with these sensations in my body? What's wrong with anxiety? What's wrong with whatever is alive in me right now? What's wrong with it? Isn't it just life? Isn't it just an expression of life? And this was the moment where true meditation really became alive in me. And suddenly what I realized was my whole life I'd been meditating wrong. Or not wrong, but I'd been meditating in the wrong direction. I'd been meditating with a goal. I'd been meditating in order to escape. It was just another addiction. So that whole thing shattered for me. The concept of meditation, everything I had learned about meditation, all the different techniques and the visualizations and the altered states, everything it all just shattered. The whole thing shattered. It all left my system. And what was left was this profound understanding of what meditation really is. And meditation is its pure presence. We don't meditate in order to get rid of boredom. We meditate in order to fall in love with boredom. We don't meditate in order to get rid of our fear. We meditate in order to fall in love with fear, to fall in love with anxiety. And this can sound insane from the perspective of the mind, because we're so conditioned into this state of I have to get rid of, purify myself, perfect myself, become enlightened, becoming. We end up falling out of love with this gorgeous, vulnerable, sensitive, human expression. So sometimes I say to people, why do you want to be something different? Why do you want to be something other than what you are? Can't you see that right now in this moment, as you are, with all of your aches and your pains and your dissatisfaction and your seeming imperfections and your longings, as you are already the divine. Call it whatever you want. The words do not matter. The divine, consciousness, the mystery, life itself, oneness. The word does not matter. We get so caught up in words and we forget the word is not the thing. What the word is trying to point to is the absolute mystery of life itself. That's very same mystery that was there at the Big Bang, the very same mystery that explodes as volcanoes and mountains and the oceans and every blade of grass and every piece of dog shit and every cloud and the sky and the moon. That very same mystery that is and infuses and expresses itself as nature, as all there is expressing itself right now perfectly as you, not the perfect you, not the enlightened you, but this wonderful, imperfect, unfinished, vulnerable you just as you are, with your doubts, not without your doubts, including this love that I talk about is radically all-inclusive. So you as you are, not as you imagine that yourself to be one day, not as you hope you'll be, but you as you are, with your doubts, with your human flaws, you are already an expression of that mystery, of that divine intelligence. It's right now, without you even having to understand it, it's beating your heart for you. It's breathing for you right now. You see, I bet in those last few moments you weren't even noticing your breathing. You weren't even aware of it in deep dreamless sleep every single night when you're not even aware of it. Your heart is beating perfectly on cue. You're breathing in and out perfectly on cue. Blood is pumping around the body right now. This is the divine intelligence. It's hearing these sounds right now. It's listening to these words, making sense of them or not, liking them or not, finding them useful or finding Jeff Foster annoying or finding him incredibly helpful or not. It's you. It's the feeling of your bum. That's what we say in the UK. It's the feeling of your bum, your bottom on the chair. This is enlightenment. This is enlightenment. You know, when the Buddha was asked, maybe it was the Buddha, maybe it was a Zen master, I can't remember, when they were asked, what is enlightenment? Their reply was, nothing special. Nothing special. The sacred, you see, is not separate from the ordinary. Our minds separate the ordinary from the sacred, the profane from the sacred, the earthly from the godly. But as you come to understand on a very visceral level, on a gut level, on a body level, on a cellular level, on a DNA level, on a bone level, the sacred and the profane, the extraordinary and the ordinary were never separate. So you as you are, and this is where meditation comes in, true meditation, you as you are, sitting on a chair, breathing, feeling an ache, feeling a longing, feeling a loneliness or a sorrow. None of this is a mistake or a problem with you, something wrong with you. You know, the mind has this concept of perfection or enlightenment or, you know, awakening as some kind of state where, you know, if I was enlightened, well, this doubt wouldn't be here, or this ache wouldn't be here, or this longing wouldn't be here. That is blessed. That's the mind's version of enlightenment. It's dualistic. It's utterly dualistic. What we're pointing to here, what I've been pointing to for many years now, is a radically all-inclusive love. A radically, shockingly all-inclusive enlightenment in which there is room for doubt. Your doubt is welcome here. Your sorrow is welcome here. Your frustration, seen through these eyes, is divine. It's an expression of the divine. Your boredom is an expression of the divine.